Chairman Hinosa, Ranking Member Guthrie, and members of the subcommittee, I want to thank you for inviting the National Governors Association to testify today. I'm pleased to be here on behalf of the nation's governors, and I want to first thank you and your colleagues in Congress for the American Reinvestment and Recovery Act and the critical investments in workforce systems and including the reauthorization of the Trade Act that were part of that act. You've signaled to the nation's workforce system that you're counting on us to help our nation's unemployed and job seekers find work and family-sustaining careers. The governors take that challenge very seriously, and I can tell you all are working very diligently. As you know, the governors met this past weekend. They met with President Obama and the cabinet members to discuss implementation of the act. They also met this weekend and approved a new workforce policy entitled Governor's Principles to Ensure Workforce Excellence. And so the focus of my testimony is going to be on those high-level guiding principles. States, it originated, I think, with Woodrow Wilson, but states like to say that they're the laboratories of democracy. I'd like to make the point today that states are, in fact, the incubators of innovation, particularly when it comes to workforce policy. The new policy statement, in particular, supports those governor-led innovations. And while I think that there is no one clear and single path to reauthorization of the Act, the nation's governors outlined some key priorities that we think make sense in terms of considering reauthorization. We hope that you'll build off the innovations that have come from both the regional levels and through the governor's initiatives to make our nation competitive in the 21st century economy. So I want to first highlight some of the state-led innovations. Critical, as many of the members said earlier today, and President Obama mentioned in his recent State of the Union or recent speech to the joint Congress, is improving the skills and the access to training, ensuring that all Americans have access to 1 year of training, I think, is critical to developing a skilled workforce. Governors have led the effort to increase training and, more importantly, to ensure that the training is geared towards the appropriate needs of the individual. So leveraging dollars from different systems to make sure that the intervention for individuals and regions is appropriate. The second key innovation by governors is the development of skills credentials, which signal to businesses and are universally understood that the people coming to apply to them have a set of recognized credentials and help improve the earnings capabilities of the job seekers themselves. Additional innovations have come in the form of green jobs. We need to continue to equip workers with skills and technologies required for emerging occupations in clean and renewable energy, and many governors throughout the nation have already taken a leadership role on doing that, just that. One national trend among the governors is the creation of what is in the research literature called workforce intermediaries. These intermediaries make the labor market more transparent. In Pennsylvania, we call them industry partnerships, and essentially they are partnerships of businesses, where appropriate, labor unions, training providers, and community organizations on a regional basis or at the labor market level, and they focus in on a specific industry and what the skill needs are of that industry so that we can create career pathways, training programs that create increased economic opportunity, as well as meet the demands of the industry in the region. In Pennsylvania, we've had more than 6,300 businesses involved in 80 partnerships, and since 2005 have trained 70,000 workers. While our original results showed initially a 12% gain in increase in income for the individuals who went through that training because of the recent events, the average is about 6%, still incredibly good increase in income after the first year of training. Governors are also leading less glamorous reforms, but these are also essential reforms, and they include improvements in the service delivery system, accountability, and overall program efficiencies, all the while trying to reduce administrative costs and duplication of efforts. As preparation begins for reauthorization of the Workforce Investment Act, I want to outline the Governors Association's 6 key policy areas. The first is, and it was already mentioned, but I want to reemphasize the National Governors Association position on that, to streamline access to training opportunities and eliminate the mandates that dictate the sequence of services. Second is increasing coordination and integration of workforce education and economic development to meet the unique needs of states and their regions. We hope to see greater alignment of the federal programs, which was mentioned earlier, between the agencies that fund workforce development programs in labor, education, and the other federal agencies. We'd like to see and advocate for building state-led regional economies by giving the governors the authority to designate, for the purposes of delivery of services, regions that reflect labor markets and don't narrowly reflect city or county or other arbitrary boundaries. And finally, 2 critical issues are a focus on the emerging industries, such as green jobs, as I talked about earlier, and supporting common measures to improve accountability. As we heard earlier, the importance of transparency in the system is important to governors. The National Governors Association and the National Association of State Workforce Agencies has a specific proposal related to common measures that it would like to see considered, and they're happy to provide that in detail. In conclusion, the nation's governors stand ready to work with this subcommittee and all the members of Congress to craft what we hope will be significant improvements to the Workforce Investment Act, and to provide whatever information the committee needs from us.